Fiendsmith tracked, grab the Lurie, discard that Lurie, reborn that Lurie. We can't use Duraswarm here, but it would probably be better to just wait for the Engraver instead. Requiem is going to be tributing itself to come forth and summon from the deck our Fiendsmith Engraver. I need a way to get the Engraver engraved, normal max C, special summon the Jet, and just like that, with the Spright starter, we could chain summon the Retaliating Sea. We got Fiendsmith Sequence activating to fuse with our graveyard, a perfect use of Impermanence or our Effect Veiler. Negate. Now, from here, we're going to turn the Sequence and Jet into a Gigantic Spright. Gigantic Spright before activating, we're going to be using the Engraver, as we're going to use Duraswarm to banish that Engraver. The Gigantic Spright would have turned off the use of the Duraswarm summon, so you would maybe want to think about using Gigantic Spright first before the Engraver. I guess in response to activating Gigantic Spright, they could chain Duraswarm to it. Now, it's worth noting, the Ogre stops the Gigantic Spright. You're not going to be able to summon from the deck. We could Veiler or Ogre the Gigantic. Gigantic, Ogre, because it detaches its material on effect resolution. So if it's no longer there on the field on resolution, there's nothing to detach, thus no effect. Spright starter, we did not chain Retaliating Sea to the starter because it would have turned off our Effect Veiler, which has to go to the graveyard as a cost in order to negate the blue. Negate you, just like that. And I guess we're gonna be pretty much ending on Imperm and Ash as our only forms of disruption. Nicely done. It is not a full hand trap deck. It is in fact a magical Musketeer deck. Musketeer Max will be activating its effect based off of the amount of monsters or back row your opponent controls. We're going to Imperm negate as it was attempting to summon a magical musket from the deck. Not today. As we now further link this up into our Fiendsmith Requiem, which we could follow up with our Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom, negate the Requiem. So had we used Ashed on the Musketeer instead, we would be saving the Imperm for a Sequence summon. Not looking good for Boda. What could Boda top deck here? We have nothing relevant that could activate from in graveyard. Our Engraver got banished by the Duraswarm. Otherwise, it has that infinite recursion of continually reborning itself every single turn. We have Retaliating Sea now on the field here. If sent to the graveyard, which we could do in main phase 2, we search for Max C. Straight up. Little Knight cannot banish on summon here, but we do get Max C. That is disgusting. What the heck? Hey, our own Max C. Set that fool back to Haga. Haga desperately wanting to draw into a magical musket. Where are our muskets? How many do we play? Off the top of the deck here. Ooh, we got a blue, but it's not activatable. It only triggers on special summon. Oh, you can't see it, but his Spright Blue pet is actually pissed. It's like punching the ground. Look at that. He's pissed. That's crazy. Diva is here on summon for the deck, a Diva, as we do have a Veiler. We can't use the Spright Red to negate Veiler here, as it would then essentially be the same thing as a Veiler, as we would be tributing off the Gigantic Spright, turning off its own effect. Negate. We have Elf, Reborn the Red, which can negate any monster effect. We do have Caesar, which can negate 2 special summon activations. That could be the Lurie Engrave. It could be the effect of a Bestial, possibly. It could be the Musketeer activating to summon from the deck. So that's going to be 2 additional disruptions. We do have Impermanence negate a monster, and we have Double Cross, which could take control of a monster from their field or from the graveyard, or turn it into an Xyz material. So 5 disruptions. Thanks to the Nibiru, which we otherwise would have just ended on an Elf plus a red, we drew into the Impermanence. We had 1 disruption before Nibiru, which then turned into 5. We are going to take control of that right away. Before it's able to turn itself into a Fiendsmith Requiem, we're going to track to add Engraver, discard the Lurie. Lurie will activate to Reborn, and the Wave King Caesar will negate. Just like that, mates. Nicely done. Now I'm thinking, so what's worth noting here, there's a ruling with the Wave King Caesar. You could read it right here. When a spell / trap card or monster effect is activated that includes an effective special summon, negate the activation and destroy. We didn't really have a play here, but you could use the effect of Tract to not get negated by this Caesar, because the Tract is from Engrave. You could banish this card to then fusion summon. That is not negatable by the Caesar. But, I mean, what are we going to really do from there if we were to, I guess, discard the other Tract and try to fuse with our hand? We were pretty much screwed either way. Deep Sea Diva into the Fua Lost. Now, Fua Lost does draw per summon from the deck an extra deck, and Spright loves to special summon from the hand. So they will be drawing per this summon, but we could still whip out our red and carrot without them drawing. Just like that, as you saw, a double special summon under the Fua Loss. With this field, we have negate a monster, negate a spell and trap card, negate a monster effect. Since we have nothing from the extra deck, these negates will not result in the destruction of the card we are negating. Fiendsmith Tract into the carrot negate. Tribute off that Deep Sea Diva. 2 more negates left. What is good? Can Caesar stop the Pendulum Summon? No, Pendulum Summon does not activate. We are going into a Spright Elf. Elf is going to be reborn in the carrot. We're going to be chaining a Maxi. Now, the big question here is, do we take the Maxi challenge? What are reasons to not take a Maxi challenge? I would say Nibiru is a big one. But if you're playing Spright, what you could do is you could very easily just turn off Nibiru by going into Gigantic Spright, I guess, which means it would be worth taking that challenge. Do we do it? No. That's it. They're just like that. We're going for easy damage. Look at that hand. Holy hand trap. So many. What is going on here? Setting the Fua Loss. At the end of the main phase, we're going to reborn our Deep Sea Diva. Not looking good for Haga here. Triple Dark Ruler no more. This is where you'd be thinking, all right, a card like Droplet is way better, but maybe we're playing it in addition to the Droplet. We have the Spright Elf being destroyed by the Ogre, and the Spright Red did not care to protect it, because I think we'll just make another Spright Elf. And we could also save the Spright Red to negate something like an Ash Blossom instead by tributing off the Spright Carrot. But then they have an Effect Veiler to double up on that negate. Thus, the Gigantic Spright will in fact be negated. We could turn this into a Spright Elf to reborn the red or carrot back, and then on their turn, reborn the other one. What is good? We are plowing right through those hand traps. Their hand is whittling down. They still have an Ash Blossom left plus a Tract, which we did not go into Elf Reborn. What is up with that? We do have an Elf still in our extra deck here. The Tract will safely be used. As we add our Lurie here, we have double monster negate with the red and the impermanence. Do we red negate this? We do not. We possibly are going to be waiting for the Requiem. On the Requiem activation to summon from the deck, the red possibly will be negating. Just like that, tribute off the Gigantic Spright, negate. Now we just have impermanence left. We're going to be summoning our Magical Musketeer Calamity. Main phase 2 going into the Musketeer Max, which will summon up to 2 monsters from the deck. We definitely want to imperm negate. Now, what could we top deck into? A Spright Starter would be a great top deck. Top decking a blue is no good. We have to special summon it. Top decking a Jet, also no good. A Diva would be good. Gamma Burst would not be good. Holy moly, triple dead. Dark Ruler no more. Engraver off the top of the deck, searching for our 3rd copy of the Fiendsmith Tract, making this deck quite expensive if you want to try it out. Triple ultra rare Tract. We're going to be activating the Tract to Grave to fuse with our field, come forth into Lacrima. Lacrima should be seen as an additional 1200. You could just view it as 3600 damage when we're talking about lethal damage. So that is not enough. That'd be 5400 damage. We have an additional 1200 we could deal. We're going to instead Little Knight main phase 2, banish away one of the dead Dark Ruler No Mores. Now, of course, the Little Knight will not be a form of disruption as we have plenty more Dark Ruler No Mores to activate on the next turn. So I would say our only form of disruption to expect is the Ash Blossom negating an interaction with the deck. Ooh, a freaking loss off the team. We don't even want to play. Why do we want to play? Oh, well, it doesn't look like it's lethal. He's got the Engraver. Engraver recycles every single turn, non-stop reborning. Begin. Huh? Set pass. That is not good. Oh my Jesus. Wait. We set talent to turn off our Mulcharmies. I think we got tilted. Straight up. We tilted big time. Big tilt. In fact, we should maybe just surrender. We're gonna bond, grab a Pegasus, setting up the Rainbow Dragon here. With the Rainbow Dragon, we're gonna banish to summon from the deck a Cobalt Eagle. Don't tell me this has never happened to you, where you quickly saw your hand, you're pissed, you set a card, and you go, oh crap, I had Mulcharmies, whatever. We're going into the Boxer Dempsey. With our rank 4 Xyz searching for our Renaud, this is a good way to go into I Sold. I Sold is now here. Get ready, she top tier. We're going to be searching our deck for a monster we can't summon, but we're going to send from our deck a single equip card to summon a level 1 monster to grab that equip card from engraved back to our hand. We now have the Golden Rule, as we now make a Cross Sheep. With that, we're going to Golden Rule equip 2 of our Pegasuses, as we then summon a Carbuncle, which will trigger to summon our entire back row onto the field, as we now make a Gallant Grand Knight. This is a good way to search for a Fossil Dyna. Thankfully, we're not doing that. Instead, we're searching for the Millennium Golem. With the Millennium Golem at the cost of 2,000 life, we summon itself onto the field and search for the Wedju Temple. As we now go in, oh my god, how do you have room for the Fiendsmith engine? What the heck? Requiem is here. Requiem is now going to summon from the deck Engraver. I think TTK maybe just walked away. That's it. We are out of the building. Beatrice sent from the deck a Rainbow Bridge. Rainbow Bridge is going to banish to search our deck for our Crystal Beast and our field spell. We got the Waterfront, Wedju Temple equipping into the back row a Senjin. We're going to then search our deck for the Shield of Millennium. We're going to summon the Doom Dragon by sending 2 of our back row cards. We're going to trigger the Cross Sheep, Reborn level 4 or lower, as we then make a Saryuja. Saryuja on some, we're going to draw 4, return 3, search our deck for the Kaiju here, special summon that Kaiju on the field through the Saryuja, special summon our Rainbow Dragon, equip the Shield of Millennium, special summon itself to then go into the Apollo USA, ready to negate whatever we want, mate. We have double negate on the Gamseel, triple negate on the Apollo USA, lethal damage. All right, it's a freebie. It's a freebie. I give you game 1, give you false confidence going into game 2, and then I clap you up for the rest of the match. Let's do it. Hit him with the early Pirellia just like that in the standby phase. We're going to be drawing per summon from the hand. So we have a banish, a negate, a Little Knight double banish. We then have the Gamseel double negate. The Masquerena will turn on the Gamseel to give us a 3rd negate. So you have about 7 forms of disruption. Against, I would say it's pretty fair. We have a 7-card hand versus 7 disruptions. Let's see what's good. Now, unfortunately, the Serenir is blocking us from using a Mulcharmy. It would have been better if this was a Fua Lost instead. Let's get grassing. With our 7 disruption, as we now drop down to 6, we negate and banish away that grass-looking greener, attempting to mill a ton of cards off the top of our deck. Foolish Burial, sending from the deck to the grave, it goes through. Let's trigger the Tragedy to search our deck for our Aluber. We have Gold Sark again, Banish and negate. Now, we are in a troublesome spot, I would think, potentially with our Gamseel not able to negate a card at the moment. We could then follow up with a Triple Tactics talent to take control, but we do have the Centurion True Awakening, which will be able to negate. We're going to Aluber, Phalanx, banish away the Aluber. It's not negating its effect, but you are no longer on the field as you're searching for, let's say, a Branded Fusion. Yes. Down to 4 disruption. I mean, it's too much. The Waterfront is gaining a counter each time a card is sent from the field to the grave, and we have to remove 3 counters in order to negate with the Gamseel. Is it 3 or is it 2? What is it? It is remove just 2, actually. So it's got a max hold of 5 counters as you continually remove 2, and anytime a card's sent to the grave, it keeps on gaining them counters. So we had 5, it would be 6, 7, 8. We had at least 4 negates of the Gamseel, so I was wrong. It wasn't 7 disruption. We had 8. At least 8. Begin. Deception of Sinful Spoils. We're going to start off with that. And this is where if you had Retaliating Sea, it would hard counter the deck. You can't call with a Grave Retaliating Sea. They're likely not going to be able to cross out Designate if they're not playing it themselves. We're going to... What the heck was that? A Greater Inari Fire. What? This came from the freaking deck. You could special summon this from your deck by sending a face-up spellcaster and a level 4 or lower you control to the graveyard. And then you can only use each of the following effects once per turn. When this card is special summoned, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the original attack of one of the monsters they control. They control none. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, it says if, so it does not miss the timing if we link summon with it. You could add a Spiritual Fire Art or a Possessed Spell/Trap. I guess that's what we're playing it for. I'm excited to see what we search for. Lacrima's here on summon. We're going to be reborning the Engraver. Like, I'm always thinking the context of TCG. Physically in person, my opponent just picked up their deck. Like, what? You can't just pick up your deck in a duel without even activating an effect. Just picked up the deck and slapped a Greater Inari on the field. Now it's going to be searching our deck. Lacrima is going to be burning. Let's see the search here. Little Knight banishing away the Inari, sure. And what is the play? This is it. This is the moment we've been waiting for. The Spiritual Fire Art Kurenai. Tribute a fire monster, inflict damage to your opponent. That's it? What? What is this, like a first turn kill? What is this? Volcanic? This is not the best deck in the game? I thought this was Snake Eye Fiendsmith. Holy moly, we're already at 4,300. Do we win? Like right now, we have a Sylvia to negate any potential stop to our play. We also have a Poly USA to negate a monster effect. Volcanic Emission is too large to even read what it does, but it burnt for 1550. Tribute off for lethal damage. That's essentially a first turn kill, right? Holy moly. Volcanic. Damn. Emblem of Oath hopefully is going to be a wombo combo as we are setting up our stand-up Centurion to search our deck for a Primera. Not search, it's going to set it, so it could be a Trudea or the Primera. Trudea on summon is going to be equipping the Primera. Primera will activate from the back row to summon and search our deck for the Wake Up Centurion. We are really holding on to that impermanence. Wake Up Centurion, summoning a token of a controlled monster into our back row. We're going to trigger our field spell to sync our way into Legatia, which will draw a card on summon. Simple draw. That's it. Now, we're not just negating the draw, we're negating the Legatia end phase effect of equipping the Primera back into the back row. Quite beneficial here. We have Wake Up Centurion, which is going to send from the deck a Phalanx as we then pass. Of course, we are still negated. We do have Droplet and the Rainbow Bridge, which I believe is going to be nothing. So we just have Droplet and Droll. Sinful Deception. Spoils will be searching our deck for the Hallowed Azamina, triggering the Poplar as we're going to hit them with the Droll and Lockbird. Now, we should still have great plays. Even though the Snake Eye Ash will not be able to add from the deck, it could still summon a monster from the deck. It could still very easily Hallowed Azamina going into our Sylvia, ready to negate. We can potentially try to negate the drop, but if they don't send a monster, 1-for-1, summon from the deck the Oak, Oak on summon, reborn the Ash. We're going to Forbidden Droplet Mate, sending the stand-up Centurion. As I said, by not sending a monster, the Sylvia will be able to negate. And by not negating the Oak, it not only reborns from Engrave, it also is going to summon a monster from the deck. Or the Ash will. Hallowed Azamina, return back the Sylvia to return itself back to the hand. We do need a Sinful Spell card to even use it, though. As we come forth and summon our Flameburge. Flameburge could push the Legatia into the back row if we need to. Otherwise, we're going into a Hida, which could steal a fire monster from the opponent's graveyard, which there are none. Triggering the Flameburge to reborn 2 level 1 fires as we now go into Relinquished Anima. Anima and Oak are going to summon from the deck the Awakening of the Possessed Greater Inari Fire, burning for 3,500 damage. Holy moly, that's a lot of damage. As you get Promethean, reborn the Flameburge, then push back the Centurion, then attack for game. Wow. 5,700 plus burn for 35. Lethal damage. Very cool deck. I need your D. That's mine. That deck list is mine. Gianna, dig it up. I need it. Damn.